Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for our Fool's Gold review, and this time we've got the future state getting the litmus test in regards to Fool's Gold. So starting off with today, with this one, we have The Flash and Wonder Woman. So let's get started. As you can see here, this is how I do my system rating and how much I pay for my comic, and I also point out how much it's worth. So starting off with The Flash, issue 1 of the future state. Things that are brought up within this story are number 1, Earth -3, the Castle of Checkmate and their headquarters. We've also got Japan and Barry's Speed Lab. And the cast consists of the Speed Force family members, Checkmate, the Calculator, Famine, and a possessed Wally West, who is possessed by Famine. I must admit, this story was very interesting. Rating the cover in relation to the story, it gets a 6 out of 10. And how much do I think it's worth? $1.25. Moving into the internal art, this art was actually quite consistent in quite a number of places, and I really enjoyed this. This is at the beginning. I'll show you one towards the end. It was really nice and I enjoyed the style of it. And it'll be interesting to see what the next issue brings. For the art, it too got a 7 out of 10, but for how much I thought it was worth, $1.30. Now, quickly moving on to the story. Of course, I brought up the locations before that are addressing this thing. We are told, of course, this does take place after the death metal events. And I'm also wondering if a lot of these future state titles are actually taking place in regards to the Else Worlds Earths. So, not the main DC comic universe, but the Elseworlds Earth. And that's why I'm starting with The Flash here. Moving to the next, let's go on to Wonder Woman. As we go on to Wonder Woman, I really enjoyed the cover here. It did actually help the story. I'll give it that. It really helped with the story, and it matched with something that happened inside the story. So for the cover rating, it got a 7.5 out of 10, so it was worth $1.50. Or how much I think it was worth? $1.50. The art internally by Joelle Jones. Was it Joelle Jones? It might have been Ballet. Let's move into it. Starting off with something that happens towards the beginning of the book. And of course, I really like what happens after this situation. As to when she learns, well, maybe she didn't quite kill the Hydra. It was really good. It was nice to see when this character came in, they had actually made a mistake. Aggressive, but had made a mistake. Very nice with that being brought across. Now, moving into the art around the middle of the book, I really enjoyed this too. But I will also point out something that shouldn't actually be here. especially if this is meant to be a mix between Greek gods and basically South American Amazonian gods. I'll address that when I reach the story. But for the art inside, I really enjoyed it. I liked what they gave. And that too was a 7.5 out of 10. To which I also thought it was worth $1.50. Now to move on to the story. Now, moving on to the story, we've got Yara Flor, her Pegasus, Terry, no, not Terry, Jerry, and Kaiporo, who seems to be a sprite of the underworld. And it was really nice seeing that happen within the story. Moving into the locations, of course, we've got the deep Amazon in South America. And of course, we have the introduction of the underworld, plus her experience of the underworld. Now, I can move on to my criticism, to which my criticism is, why is the underworld made out to be Gehenna, especially for something connected to the Greek gods and also in part the Brazilian South American Amazon gods? It doesn't match in regards to looking at it at a historical standpoint. It's actually incorrect. I have to point that out. It is actually incorrect, and it didn't really work well with the story. It would have worked well if you had Hades or Tartarus, because she's meant to have a connection to Wonder Woman, who is from Themyscira, which is also a part of Greece. Alright, those two would have been perfect to use for this. But it wasn't put in there. You could have used some of the South American things, maybe something in relation to Quetzalcoatl, or even some of the Mayan or Aztec gods. No, none of that was there either. And it would have helped improve the story. And this is why the story also lost points. I was hoping of giving the story a 7, maybe even a 7.5, because it felt that fun. But because of the neglect of paying attention to basically the spiritual myths and beliefs around these areas, it does lack in this. To which I gave the story a 5 out of 10, to which I think the story is worth about $1. Until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Until then, let's keep it colourful.